Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I just watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, and I hadn't seen it before. Whereas Season 1 and 2, I had seen the episodes, so I was sort of going against my memories of them. Whereas this one, I'd only sort of heard like interviews and seen a few clips and stuff like that, so I hadn't actually seen the episodes. But it is going in the wrong direction. The first season was good. The way they treated the Gorn was a mistake, and they would have been better off just creating a new alien-like species and doing that. But to try and to change the Gorn so fundamentally, when there's really no way to explain it in universe, doesn't really work. So there are things like that. And season 2, they had like the animated crossover where they actually showed the animated scenes like was an alternative universe that was animated. Just things didn't make sense. And the musical episode, which could have been great just as a musical episode, but they tried to explain it in universe and find a scientific reason why this was happening, and it was just implausible and impossible to take. So this season has more problems, and it's like they just keep going in the wrong direction, and you do see little signs of them sort of second guessing themselves, even down to the opening credits. The original credits had the Enterprise traveling through space, just like Voyager in their opening credits, and it's just majestic and beautiful, and the soundtrack is great. But now they've added in these little action scenes, like you see a shuttle leaving the dock and the bay, and you see like a Klingon ship coming out from some asteroids and chasing after them, and it's like people said, the credits are really boring, it's just the ship flying around, like that's not the most awesome thing in the world. So then like, we need to make it more action-packed, so they put things in. It's like when they tried to speed up and change the music in Deep Space Nine's credits, and the Enterprise song, trying to make that more pop, and just, you can see like the doubt where they're looking at it and going, how can we make this better? Like there's something wrong here. They don't seem to really believe in elements of the show sometimes, I feel. And I got a little bit of a sense from this season in general like that. But, and there's some missteps. Like when you have only 10 episodes, you really can't afford to be doing sort of fluffy, sort of random episodes, which are the kind of thing that you kind of do if you've got 20 or 25 episodes to give people a breather from maybe serious stories, or just for fun and because you've got enough episodes that you can spare one or two. When you've got 10 episodes, you really can't spare any episodes. So episodes like Wedding Bell Blues are just totally just unnecessary. Just and a Space Adventure Hour, oh my god. I was just enraged when I was watching the parody scenes, when they are absolutely trashing the original Star Trek like it was some 1950s Flash Gordon serial. And the way they did like the mock bloopers at the end, where they're not actual bloopers from filming those scenes, they're just making out like the actual, like it was just insulting and offensive. And the fact they put the original series music on that, like it was the original credits, like, so I think that, like I said, when they get it wrong, they get it so wrong, and in that case, it's so wrong, it made me angry. But the other times when they get it right, it kind of works. But then there's more instances this season where they don't get it right. Like the introduction of the idea of evil, and it even comes to a point where Palia, whatever her name is, actually starts referring to these aliens as though they're demons who could possess people. So it's like they're taking on these sort of religious, superstitious, unintelligent sort of ideas, which Star Trek obviously never did. Star Trek was somewhere where you could go if you didn't believe in God or religion, and you believed in science and facts and intelligent stories, not all spooky superstition, crouch in a hole and, strike out at scary things you don't understand. I mean, that's the sort of mentality that some of the sort of, they're going in that direction. And 4.5 Vulcans, actually that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I think the worst scene is the transformation scene. Once you get past that, everything else is not as bad, which only seemed not as bad because of that scene. It makes just no sense. You just can't make it make sense. These people they change the look of these people just for an attempt at some sort of comic relief. And it would have been funnier if after the mission, when they went sort of back to their crew quarters and that, they came back out with, like, they'd restyled themselves the way they thought looked better, like the Vulcans. Like if you'd just gone from, Chris having regular hair to having that hair, like he thought that looked good. That could have been played off as funny instead of it just changes in a second with no rational scientific explanation as to how someone's hair product can suddenly change in their hair just because they've had an injection. And the idea of the Vulcan culture being transplanted through an injection, it just doesn't make sense. I know this, like, well, we just want to have fun and do a silly episode. Well, that's the kind of episode that you could have Tree Lane for. Like, he just snaps his fingers and turns them all into Vulcans. And that's it. Like, they were so close where they could have had some of these ideas work, but they just got them wrong, and you can't watch them because if you're an intelligent person with any dignity, you can't sit there and be subjected to this stuff and, not acknowledge it for how off it is. And, there's like multiple episodes that are off. So it's just sad because, like I said, when it is working, it's great. And I actually enjoyed a few episodes, pretty much all the episodes from season 1, almost all the episodes from season 2, and about half the episodes from season 3. And I was really enjoying it. I'm like, wow, it's like I've got some Star Trek to watch, which I didn't realise because I was too busy hating it before and not watching it properly. And then realising, oh, actually, that's, part on us. But it's kind of easy to do when some things are so bad. You can just assume everything else is and have that attitude and look at it that way and not really give it a chance. So, yeah. Season 3, it's a worry. If they keep going in this direction, I just don't know how bearable season 4 and 5 will be. And thank God 5 is only 6 episodes, because that's at least only 6 episodes we have to sit through if they're all bad. Season 4, I mean, half of season 3 was bad. How many episodes in season 4 are going to be bad, It's just such a pity because, like I said, they could have gotten this right. They almost had it right. If it had just gone in that other direction, season 2 and 3 would have been better. And, the show would have been great and might have actually not been cancelled in its 4th season like it was. I know they got those extra 5 episodes they're counting as a 5th season. Really, they just got an extension for season 4 to finish it off. That they could mark it as a season 5, basically, even though it's 6 episodes. But I kind of enjoyed some of it, but I worry about where it's going, and it's just such a pity. Before I was more angry at the show, now I'm more sad because it could have been great. Because once you get past the different universe or the different timeline and where everything's different, and it's basically a reboot, as long as it is explained in universe, I'm fine. Like with the JJ films, I was fine with them because they weren't pretending to be original Star Trek in the same timeline and universe and everything. But the Discovery verse, Strange New World verse, whatever you want to call it, has sort of been pretending to be that for the most part. I'm still talking. This should have been a much shorter video, but yeah. So this is my overview, and I'm going to do an episode by episode, because I do want to go into all the details, but I do sort of just want to give a basic idea because it's fairly simple. I could have made it a lot shorter. Basically, they just went in the wrong direction, and this season is just continuing to go in the wrong direction and doing more episodes that don't work. And like I said, it's sad because had they just gone in the other direction, it could have been great. And it had such potential, and it started off good. It only had one element that was off, one decision that was wrong. But now it seems like there's someone sitting there. It's like there's someone who knows Star Trek, who gets Star Trek, who's trying to make Star Trek, and then there's someone else in the room saying, oh, why don't we do this? Oh, but then if we added that, and you can almost see these things that don't mesh, just sort of being pushed together, and I'm like, what is happening in the writer's room and in the production that we're getting this? Because it's like you can't accidentally make the episodes that are good. You can't accidentally make those. The people who made them knew what they were doing. How did they then make these other mistakes? There must be someone else that's being influenced or taking control or having their opportunity to do their episode. It's like, I'm just really curious. I want to know in a few years when all the NDAs are gone and everything, we're going to see interviews and we're going to find out what happened with this show, like we did with Enterprise. now we know everything that happened with Enterprise, because there were a few issues and people were like confused about what was happening, and that, and now we know after the fact all the things that were happening, because people, after 5-10 years of talking about it, or 20 years talking about it. So I'm really curious to see why this show ended up like this. But yeah, it's 10 minutes, I've got to stop talking. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of Season 3 of Strange New Worlds. I do wish I'd seen it when it first came out, because there's like the Gorn episode, knowing that they were going to kill the Gorn, it just really affects how you watch the whole episode. And I was just sad the whole time because I didn't want the Gorn to die. And I thought it was totally unnecessary and disappointing. It wasn't a surprise. It was just like, why do they go in that direction? But yes, I'm still going. I'm going to go.